Welcome to UTB Blogcast number 88. I think I caught Erica off guard. Erica, come back.
Problems. Yeah.
I'm here.
I'm having huge amounts of technical problems. Huge.
Yeah. Aren't we all, though?
Ah, Lord, this is not good.
And one of them is his computer.
Oh my goodness, what just happened?
I think your computer fell off.
I'll just ignore me for a minute here.
Hey, Brad. I've been doing that for a while.
Man, I can do that for a lot longer.
Oh my goodness.
It's all good.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's go.
All right.
We're going already.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, we're already.
Let's go. Well, welcome again, everybody. We have Roy, Dave, Brad, kind of, and the other Brad with us tonight. So, let's jump right in.
Funny.
Let's jump right in and talk about something other than Brad's camera moving around. BlackBerry was named a leader by Gartner for enterprise mobility management. Yet again, second year in a row. Don't everyone jump in and talk about it all at once.
Which surprised the hell out of me because I had no idea they were into gardening. So, there's a lot of fertilizer in that statement, but anyway. Kicking it up a notch.
All right, Roy, you might be the only one that's been paying attention, so why don't you go ahead and talk about what that means?
I read the report, but Gartner have the magic quadrant. They are splitting all the companies that have EMM and MDM solutions to 4 categories. Visionaries, challengers, leaders, and I forgot the 4th one.
Losers.
No. But it's very close. And BlackBerry is one of 4 companies that are tagged as leaders in this area, with IBM, VMware, and forgot the 4th company again. And there are 3 areas that, because of them, BlackBerry are the leaders for the 2nd year in a row. And this is the PIM client. Maybe Dave can expand more about PIM client. The history and the name of BlackBerry. And I forgot the third reason, but it's mainly because of the PIM client and the name of BlackBerry, the history and security, and what they're doing in IoT and QNX.
Well, I thought they were just concentrating on their EMM capabilities and for the UEM product, right? So they were hitting on critical capabilities for their EMM suites. And also now, all their work apps, that's what they...
Dynamics.
Yeah. And
this is the 3rd reason, BlackBerry Dynamics.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, I don't have a lot of, I didn't dive into the report either. It's just nice to see them in that quadrant. Although some people take Gartner's quadrants with a grain of salt. There are those out there that figure that you get to be in particular quadrants depending on how much money you part with. But I tend to take a less critical view of it, and it's, I don't know, it's just good to see them in in a good light, which of course reflects well with in their stock price and general sentiment around the planet Earth these days.
Well, not only is this the second year that they've been named leader, this is the fourth year they've continued to grow within that quadrant. So it's they're compounding on themselves with what they're doing.
Good to see.
They're BlackBerry doing a lot of good stuff since Chen start to fix things, and you can see that a lot of companies are staying in the same quadrant, but BlackBerry is one of the only companies that moving from one quadrant to the other, and they moved to leaders 2 years ago, and they stay in leaders. It's very hard to stay when you are a top player.
Yeah, it's tough at the top.
Yeah, I think if you guys anybody's listened to the Bear Report podcast, the last episode with Michael Cooley, I kind of confessed my desired love for Mr. John Chen. I stated that he's my favorite CEO right now. He's been my favorite CEO for a while, but I mean, it's just to see what he's done with this company and the things that BlackBerry's putting out as far as getting their security stuff out there, getting the ad hoc stuff, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit, and just getting the second year in a row. The Gartner stuff is just solidifies their security measures and their security knowledge and expertise and to even more for BlackBerry. And John Chen has, nobody really before John Chen took over. Everybody just looked at BlackBerry as a dying company with devices that nobody was buying and OS that people really didn't care about anymore, and Apple's OS. Now people are thinking of it more as a security software company that John Chen and BlackBerry are looking to do, and John Chen's part of the reason for that, if not one of the main reasons for that.
Yeah, and I think correct me if I'm wrong, and I agree with what you're saying there. I think it more relates to, some people that are writing things in the media, journalists and whatnot, and things are starting to turn around, and it's taken too damn long, but those that are writing are starting to see the light, and it's a positive light that they're looking at BlackBerry and it's great to see.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of give you an idea of not just journalists or news outlets paying attention to, but if you also pay attention, if any of you out there listen to any type of stock talk or anything like that, if you listen to a lot of the investor people and such, a lot of people are getting excited about the BlackBerry stock. I mean, it's definitely been going up. It's had a couple rough days in the past couple of days, but besides that, it's it has been above $10, I believe, for a very long time. And if you just look at the stock chart, it's been growing and growing slowly but surely, but it's been growing and getting the attention of a lot of the people in the stock market expertise area.
Yeah, I think $11 was the floor for at least a week, and I think it was only after hours today that it dipped under that a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it got me to buy some stock in BlackBerry, so
Here you go, lad.
Citron. Since last week, Citron report.
Yeah.
About QNX, and even when Toyota dropped or started working with AGL instead of QNX, nothing happened to the stock. So I think investors are thinking QNX is the real big next thing after Mobileye sold to Intel for 15 billion.
And so it's funny that you brought up the Citron report, because usually those are a lemon.
Yeah. I'm always funny.
Yeah.
It's my thing.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
the next big thing in the whole tech industry is these connected cars and driverless cars, and that's where a lot of people are going. And Uber's going there, Tesla's going there, Google's going there, Apple, and the reports that Apple's going there. For QNX to be there, and it sounds like they're a little bit more advanced than a lot of these companies are. They're definitely more secure than a lot of these companies are as when it comes as far as it goes to these connected cars. So, a lot of this QNX talks is getting their attention in the investors area, the stock area. But
Yeah, I think, well, there's funny how we segued into this subject, but it's a good one. The bashers out there are bashing, the shorters are bashing based on discussions around infotainment, and that's, in a lot of ways, that's not what it's about. That's a peripheral in running a car. So QNX is the base operating system that handles the safety and running of your car, and that's where it's at, and that's where the connectivity is going to happen, not at the level where you're pushing a button to change a radio station, for crying out loud.
And after they released the hypervisor 2.0, you understand why QNX is much more advanced than AGL or any other platforms that car makers can use, because you can hack AGL system. I think it's not a very hard work, but if you will try to hack a QNX system, you maybe succeed to hack one area in the car, but QNX will split the critical areas of the car system and will not let the hacker to enter the other rooms in the car. So we maybe can hack to one area, but it will not be able to attack other areas in the car.
Yeah, and just so people know, AGL is automotive grade Linux. So the Linux that's on a PC you may or may not have is not automotive grade, and this would be more hardened.
Yeah. AGL don't have the safety certifications
No.
that QNX have. No, they don't have.
It's not only just about the safety, though, and security. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good, because I have no idea what's going on right now. This is frustrating. But it's the functionality. I mean, there's nothing else that has the functionality of QNX Auto right now. I mean, it goes back to what we used to say about the phones, where we talk about BlackBerry is all security, but we never talked about the fun. And QNX it has all the functionality. If you look up AGL and you look at what they're doing, actually, no, you look at what they want to do, and they want to be QNX, but they're nowhere near that. And so, I mean, yeah, QNX is the most secure as far as auto goes, but they also bring all the functionality that the other guys are hoping to bring. You can't see me, can you?
No.
No, it's refreshing.
What the hell is going on here?
I don't know.
his camera finally broke from that.
Anyway, so there's AGL, and then there's also Android trying to take a bite out of what QNX has been doing in the infotainment space.
But we haven't even seen that yet. That was at the Google I/O, and I mean that's still just on the drawing board right
it's
now.
just that those are the expected possible future.
I think that QNX can work behind the scenes on the Android platform, so I'm not sure that Android is a really competitor to QNX.
No,
It's not.
I don't see how an Android OS or core is the kind of thing that you'd want to be running your car. So there's that, and then modules, modules that don't affect, the operation of your car at all. There's infotainment, there's your instrument cluster, there's a lot of work to be done on an Android OS.
Yeah, and if you have QNX as a core in the car, and Android is just the OS that work on the QNX, you will feel safe. I think this is what Google will go for, since they work so closely with BlackBerry.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, you have to, you can't rest on your laurels. You can't assume things never going to change. You look at the amount of money that Google has, and it's nothing to scoff at. So things can change, but I mean, right now I don't see any threats in that regard. But you got to keep looking over your shoulder if you want to stay ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing that kind of, not that worries me, but QNX is part of BlackBerry, and BlackBerry has its issues, and or had its issues with getting ahead of itself and then getting big and mighty, and then all of a sudden, you have Apple and Android taking over the big market and everything like that. Not saying that I see any competitors out there right now as Brad's taping our image here, but but I don't really see, I don't see any competitors right now. I mean, there's players, but there's nothing really competing with QNX. I just hope they don't overlook themselves and overlook the competitor players that are starting to pop up here and there.
That's right. Yeah.
QNX, Google and Apple and all other companies are making the visual OS, I like to call it, while QNX is embedded. You do the CarPlay or whatever Apple call it. It works that what the car driver is seeing when he use the infotainment. You see the CarPlay, but behind the scene, what makes the CarPlay safe and work so good is the QNX platform. So
yeah, but I'm sure that as much as Apple and Google are doing the visual stuff, I'm sure they're trying to figure out ways to get behind the scenes as well on these devices. Microsoft's probably in there too.
I think Microsoft, yes, but not Google and Apple. They invest more on things that people can pay for a lot of money.
I think Google more than Apple. Apple, you're right. They'll probably do more visual stuff. Google will try to do behind the scenes, but Apple probably won't.
But Google,
I think Microsoft's probably ran away licking their wounds after they got kicked out of Ford, and and you look at things in general, they can't even get Brad's microphone to work. So I don't have a lot of faith in it running anything in my car.
Yeah, Microsoft's in a weird position. I mean, right now they have a lot of products right now that are just kind of floating there, and they don't really know what to do with them. We don't know what they're going to do with them. There's Windows phones. They haven't been successful for years, and they're still trying to come out with another Windows phone, and their new Windows 10 OS S or whatever it's called. There's just a lot of things that Microsoft got their hands into, and I just think they don't know what they want to do with it anymore.
The one thing that they did probably is Xbox.
Even that they're starting to kind of float around, because the fact, I mean, we're not going to try to turn this into a gaming podcast, but if you're anywhere interested in gaming, Sony is kind of smacking them all over the face in the gaming market, because of the fact that Microsoft isn't putting any money in towards big AAA games or exclusive games that we call in the gaming industry. But again, we're not going to turn this into a gaming Microsoft podcast, but
you don't want to drive your car between cities, and after 20 minutes your car computer will tell you that there is an update. And
the car shit! It's Tuesday. Shit! I knew I shouldn't have driven to the store on Tuesday. It's update day.
I'm sorry. When Microsoft Office needs an update, please stand by.
Yeah, please pull over.
And your car will shut down in the middle of the road.
Well, it was like, so when BlackBerry first started, this is before QNX was even in the picture, I believe. BlackBerry was trying to get into some kind of card info system, and the big joke was, oh, are you gonna have to pull over and pull your battery out every 30 minutes, or and wait for your car to restart? So old BlackBerry joke.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question. If your Xbox is EOL, is it an Xbox?
Pretty much.
Never mind, Dave.
Yeah. Let's move on.
The only thing I have left to talk about tonight is the bend test for the Q1.
I thought we had more than that.
No.
Yeah, your microphone took up half the talk time. So.
Well, I guess just not to finish off, but to sort of carry on a little bit with the QNX and Toyota thing, because we kind of segued into that instead of calling it a new subject. But BlackBerry, and we touched on the danger of poo-pooing your competition, but BlackBerry sort of poo-pooed the concern at this point because they know how far ahead they are. But I personally think that it's not necessarily at all what they're concentrating on. The infotainment piece, that to me is like gravy. It's the connected car and the safety and running of the vehicle and adding communications between autonomous vehicles and that kind of thing that they are most comfortable with, I'd say. And the infotainment and the instrument cluster is gravy. And Brad, of course, went and got a triple dose of that a couple of weeks ago. And we'd all love to see more of that. That's for sure.
And I will add, after the Citron report, I saw Seeking Alpha analyst. I will call him analyst.
Speaking analyst is not a good word for the crap that goes on at Seeking Alpha.
Yeah, but he wrote about that Toyota dropped QNX, and this is the sign that QNX is part of the past, and BlackBerry once again lost an industry competition. And what he didn't check that BlackBerry and Toyota, maybe Toyota is the biggest car manufacturer, I think, in the world, but QNX, BlackBerry didn't put all their eggs in the basket of Toyota. They work on several products, not all the Toyota products. So even when Toyota is now not a QNX customer, it's not like QNX lost 50% of the business. They maybe lost 2% of the business because they have more than 40 companies and car makers and car supply products as clients. So Toyota is a loss, but not the biggest loss. As a couple
but they're
of
not a
people
loss.
try to. This is a loss, but not
they're not a loss. I mean, realistically, if you read what Marty Beard wrote, he made a point that their QNX infotainment system was only in a few of their cars, right?
Yeah.
He also made a point that their Intune system, which is their optional, you want the nicer system, you want the big touchscreen, all that fun stuff, that runs on QNX. That's not changing. So Toyota is still a QNX customer. And then, okay, so the tape didn't work. So then he went on to talk about the other things that QNX offers that we know that they offer, but beyond the infotainment. Because, I mean, realistically, QNX started out in automotive with infotainment. And as cars progress and computer systems progress, and you get into those critical systems that actually need a brain now instead of just mechanical functions, QNX is there. So we know that there's at least one car that's going to be coming out using the AGL, and we can assume that there's going to be more cars, but QNX wasn't in the entire line. This isn't going to be in the entire line. They're their optional system is QNX, still QNX. And we know that BlackBerry will tell us who their partners are if the partners are okay with it. We know that they've got a lot of partners that they keep private and they don't say. So, I mean, he didn't say that Toyota's a partner for these critical systems and what QNX can do, but I tend to think that they probably are, just guessing. And I mean, when I was talking to Grant, when I got to, play with the Jaguar, he was talking about the fact that there's several car makers out there that use QNX and use the hypervisor, but they use this other open source system that's not AGL. It's something else that's been out there for a long time, but they just run it right on the hypervisor, right? So, I mean, yeah, we know that they're trying out this new system. We know that they're going to be using that system, but I'm totally not comfortable in saying they lost Toyota as a customer, if for no other reason than Intune is QNX.
Yeah, not in its entirety. Yeah. Agreed.
I think people were jumping the gun on that a lot.
Yeah. Well, if you looked at the source, you don't have to go very far to see it is outrageously a short. He's absolutely short on BlackBerry, and he'll do anything.
Is it Kia?
No.
Was it Kia?
No.
Sandro.
Okay, because anything Kia says is just crap. Okay, where are we going?
Can we call this podcast? Can you hear my harsh words now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So Jerry rig everything. Brad, I think this is yours. One of you.
Everything was going great until my mic stopped working. Now I'm just, I'm a very unhappy camper.
You want me to get it?
One of you.
All right, so Jerry rates everything. If you guys haven't checked out his YouTube channel, it's actually a pretty interesting channel. He takes everything else through the rigorous durability test. So he does a scratch test. He puts the scratches 1 to 10, I believe, and where, and it will tell you how strong that strength of the glass is, or the screen is. Does a burn test where he burns the screen and see how long it takes to burn, and also how long it takes to recover. And he also does a bend test. Now, the BlackBerry Key 1 was the latest victim on the Jerry Rates Everything durability test, and what it did very well in the scratch test. It did about 6 or 7, which is right around where the Galaxy 8 did. And then he also did the burn test. Burn test wasn't too bad. It burned relatively quickly, but it also recovered very easily and very quickly as well. So a lot of good hopes there. Until he did the bend test, and he bent the phone. He took the device like this and put pressure into it, and the screen popped right out. So kind of little digging further into it, and found out there was no glue underneath the screen holding heating that device to the housing of the phone. So a lot of people are starting to get a little worried about their BlackBerry Key 1s that they have, or getting ready to purchase here in the near future.
I think that the Brad fan is making noises.
Yeah, no, I think it's Brad's microphone. It's working too well now. as he tries to use duct tape to frickin' stick it someplace.
It's masking tape.
Stick that thing.
So I kind of want to touch on. Unfortunately, I don't know when I'll get a next chance to do a Bear Report podcast, but ever since the story came out, I've been kind of wondering. I've repaired a couple of classics and passports. There's no adhesive under those screens either, and I either think one of two things happened here. Either there's a production line mess up where some of these devices got adhesive and some of these devices didn't get any adhesive underneath the screen, or two, BlackBerry Mobile TCL said, hey, we don't want to put adhesive under here, so they're easy to repair, which is fine. I would like for screens to be easily repairable if I have to send them back to TCL or do it myself. But I think one of those two things, if it's a production thing, it seems like only half or so. I mean, I've taken my device, if you see my Periscope unboxing the Incipios, I've gone like this with this device, and it hasn't bent like multiple times here. So I know there's some people out there whose screens have supposedly popped off just by laying on the table, which I don't know how true that is. But I mean, what does everybody else think about these screens that they're popping off?
Well, there's spontaneous human combustion. So, it could be that these screens are just spontaneously popping off. It's like, oh, I can't take it anymore. Yeah. Kidding. I'm kidding. No, there's always some people that'll pile on. I don't doubt that it's happening to the odd person here and there. Not going to say that it's all bullshit. And it's, it's like any product. You're bound to find some issues here and there, and maybe the first or second production run.
I think that when you manufacture, I don't know the real numbers, but when you manufacture like 100,000 devices or any other product, I think 1 to 3% of the products will be with defects.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
it's logical that few devices are.
Yeah, I think that one of the questions is, should they have used some adhesive? Because lots of manufacturers do that. And is it something that they missed? Is it something that they missed just in a run? Or is it meant to be, like Brad says, just the way it is? And one wonders if that's true. There's been some questions out there about susceptibility to dust particles and whatnot if there's no sealant for the screen to nestle into. Is there some kind of rubber or something in there that keeps dust and junk out, or what? So
yeah, so I mean, this is going to suck for anybody listening to this audio version, but on the Classic, and it's been like this since like the bold devices, there's pretty much screws underneath the bottom half of the keyboard. Mm-hmm. The keyboard pops off, the screen will actually push down to come out. So it's on devices like the Classic, and the Passport I think was the same way. It's no adhesive holding it down. It's more of just the way that the structure is built with screws and such. But if you think about it, there's a high demand for the BlackBerry Key 1. How many of these devices got pushed through too quickly because they wanted to get into people's hands, and someone in the production line forgot to do step 45 in the the Key 1 build it yourself package. Like Dave said, I think it's definitely something that's happening. It's definitely something that's an issue, but I don't really see it's affecting everybody yet. I mean, Erica and myself have had Key 1s pretty earliest out of all of us here. I know other people have had Key 1s pretty early, and none of their devices are running into any issues.
And do you prefer your screen will pop out, or your device will blow whatever, like Samsung? So I prefer.
Yeah, I mean, at least these devices aren't catching on fire or anything.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, I prefer my screen to pop out, and I will be able to glue it back, and not have a device on fire and having no device at all.
Yeah.
If you are talking about issues.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you've been through any type of BlackBerry, if you've been through BlackBerry devices for a while, this is nothing to like Storm days or early BlackBerry days where there was issues galore with devices and phones falling apart and everything like that. But I mean, the one thing that kind of is rubbing people the wrong way, or people are kind of getting worried, TCL's not really making any word about this. They haven't really said anything for it. It's been only been a couple of days since Jerry Riggs' video came in. We knew that there were issues floating around on forums like Crackberry forums and stuff like that, but Jerry Riggs' video kind of brought it to a bigger spotlight than the forums did. So the fact that TCL's been a little quiet about it, I did reach out to them today. I was told that something is coming down as far as the R statement very soon. I'm sure they're waiting until the weekend to push that out, but hopefully they say something, tell us what's going on if they know of anything that's going on. and if we can figure out the issue here.
I think it's just a matter of physics too. You know, this is what I kind of wrote last night. When your screen goes halfway down the phone, something's going to give, right? I mean, if you're giving that type of bend, that type of pressure to it, if it's a full touch phone and you're holding both ends of the glass isn't going to pop up when you're bending it that way.
Yeah.
But with the Key One, you're holding one end of the glass and you're putting flex into it. There's nothing really holding the other end of the glass in place. It's kind of like if you took the slider, the priv, and you did that bend test with it closed, I don't think the glass would pop out, right? If you opened it and did the same bend, you'd bend your priv in two.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
so Brad, obviously you need to give Jerry a call and tell him he's destroying it wrong.
He bended it wrong, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, people do these tests. I mean, there's people out there drop these devices, and I cringe every time I watch these videos because I can never sit there and destroy my phone. But, you know, how real world of a situation is this concept that he's putting these devices through? I mean, he literally takes a lighter to the screen of the device. I mean, if you're taking a lighter to your phone screen every day, you have a problem with smoking, and you're using the wrong thing to smoke. And you know, if you're bending the device like that every day, I think you're using the phone the wrong way. The only thing I could see with bending wise, people said, you know, if you put your phone in your back pocket and you sit on it, it's pretty much the same results of bending the device. You know, I know people put their phones in their back pocket. I don't know why. Still to this
I
day,
do it all the time, but I don't wear skinny jeans. I'm a man.
But if you are bending your phone on a regular basis, you need intervention.
Yeah.
And some medical.
Possibly some diet and exercise or something.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have people in our group that were just straight out calling the guy a troll. He's out to destroy BlackBerry.
No, he's not a troll.
And I don't think that at all. He does the same tests on all these phones. It's not scientific. He doesn't have machines. He's not measuring the pressure, but he's doing the same test for every phone. It's just it's an entertaining, fun durability test. And I mean, there's been lots of these that we've posted on our site because they're, you know, fun to see an iPhone bend all the way in half, which the Key One didn't do. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with them doing it, other than I would have rather just had that phone than him destroy it like that.
Yeah.
And no, the guy's not a troll. He's doing the same tests to everything. This one didn't come out the way that we wish it would have came out.
Yeah.
I think there's a reason for that.
Definitely not a troll. I mean, just from his videos. I mean, his Key One video was actually pretty comical if you like political comedian.
Yeah, I didn't appreciate
that.
But
you know, one of the things that kind of worries some people, worries me on this one. You know, if you're somebody that's sitting there, still thinking about buying a Key One, you're still kind of on that fence. Do I need a keyboard? Do I need a phone with, you know, X, Y, and Z? Is a Key One the device for me, or should I go buy, you know, some other device? For those who are still on the fence about this, you know, okay, and this push, you know, oh well, if it's going to be that easy to break, you know, I probably shouldn't do it. Keep in mind, it's, you know, this isn't an everyday scenario that he's putting this device through. Second, these devices are all going to have warranties. So if this does seem to be some kind of issue that TCL finds out that it's a major issue that they're running into, they'll fix the device for you under warranty. You just have to send a device out to them wherever they tell you to send it to, and they'll fix it. Hopefully, it's going to be some kind of Samsung Note fiasco where they recall the entire device and they're never to be sold again unless there's a rumor of them being remanufactured and sold again, and then Samsung store catches on fire after that rumor. But you know, I don't think this should scare people away from buying this device. I mean, three of us have had this device for a good amount of time, and I haven't had any issues. Has anybody else had any issues with this with this device?
I think that most people, if they will put their device in the back pocket and they will sit on it, it probably will broke.
I've said on every one of my BlackBerries, including my Priv. I've done it. I do it all the time.
I
I do
never
it
see-
probably a couple times a week.
Not
I
me.
take care of my expensive devices. I don't
Yeah.
bend them and try to burn them.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I don't bend my phones. My BlackBerries handle it. So do that with an iPhone. I don't want third-degree burns on my cheek.
Well, another good news. What's his name? Jez. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Corden at Windows Central. He wrote a nice article about Key One being the best phone for running Office 365 on, and for a Windows guy who probably is surrounded by Windows phones, to say that is pretty good.
Well, I think the keyboard has that function. I mean, the something to do with it, right? If you're writing Word documents on a phone, no matter what device you're using, if it's a Windows device and it's just a touchscreen device, I'd rather write a Word document or write some kind of PowerPoint or Excel file via my trusty BlackBerry Key One keyboard compared to a touchscreen slab. I mean, I've tried doing anything Microsoft Office on a touchscreen device, and it's just not a very pleasant experience because you can't get into any kind of rhythm on the virtual keyboard. Sorry.
Yeah, well, that's what he picked on mostly, for sure, was the keyboard aspect of getting some work done, and not and leaving your laptop or tablet at home. Forget that. You don't need it necessarily. So good to hear from an operating system choice that you can have one of the best tablets on planet Earth. Sorry, iPad users out there, but I'd rather have Windows 10 on my tablet than an iPod.
Wayno's not with us. It's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, the guy's got a choice of a super skinny laptop or a beautiful Surface Pro or something like that, and a Windows phone, and he likes the Key One better. So, there's a reason for that.
Well, there's not much of a choice in Windows phones anymore.
No, well, I mean, apparently they're coming out with something else. I think HP's coming out with something new.
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft is another one of those phone manufacturers where they're kind of in the same boat BlackBerry was with BlackBerry 10, but they're fighting longer, the battle a little bit longer with Windows Mobile, and more there's still some manufacturers that they're like, HP and HTC wanting Windows devices because there is a market for it still somewhat, but I kind of
But not.
Good. Oh, did we lose him?
Did that go through?
No, I think you were pretending you were a Disney movie like Frozen or something.
Dadgummit. I finally figured out how to prop up my phone too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, go on. Say what you're gonna say.
Yes, indeed.
I was just saying, I mean, even Microsoft shut down their own phone manufacturing. So, I mean, people want to say BB10 is dead. I think it's safe to say Windows Phone is dead, much more so. Just me.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would rather have BlackBerry 10 OS than than there are people who would rather have Windows OS, and where vice versa. Microsoft shut down the hardware aspect of it, not the software aspect of it. People in the BlackBerry camp would rather have them take away the hardware aspect of it and keep the software portion going and give the hardware to somebody else.
I wouldn't call Windows Phone dead. I'd just call it sleeping and waiting, because as soon as processors catch up to Windows 10 or its cut version, being able to run properly and all of your normal everyday Windows apps being able to run at the right size, that is a killer app. Continuum,
I don't know.
notwithstanding.
I don't know. I kind of feel like that is a dead end now because, a year ago, I would have totally said the same thing, Dave, to be able to have full Windows in your hand and to be able to do the continuum like that. But you look at what Google is doing with Android, and you look, I mean, they're totally setting it up for a multi-window experience. They're setting it up for a desktop experience. You've got Samsung with their decks. We've got the Superbook coming. We've got all the stuff that Jide is doing. I keep waiting for BlackBerry to bring some version of, Android Blend, something that can bring us back to the mobile computing that Thorsten Hines was talking about. But that is the direction that Google is taking Android right now in a fast, heavy way.
Mm-hmm.
And then what do we hear from Microsoft is that we are going to bring the full Windows Office experience to Android, right? They're totally pushing their software on Android now. I think they've conceded. And I mean, it sucks to say this as somebody that preached against this for 3 years, but I mean, Android is just the dominant mobile force now, and I don't think anything else comes anywhere close. And I think the competitors and those that wanted to take on the throne have honestly just given up.
Well,
Apple hasn't given up, and they don't care because they're making profit off of their cheap. But everybody else is like, okay, so let's jump on Android now.
Yeah, well, there's two ways to look at it, and I get what you're laying down, but in our office, which is the same as everybody else's office for the most part, there's a pile of Windows PCs, and they're running native Windows programs, and so our CRM is never say never, Dave, but it doesn't and won't run on Android in the foreseeable future. There's just too much SQL database and things going on. And so who's going to be able to do what faster? Is Microsoft going to be able to take all of those programs that we use on a daily basis and somewhat take advantage of and give it to us in a mobile package? Or is Android going to make it so that people can port their programs onto that platform? It's the same old thing.
I mean,
Are
honestly,
developers going to do that when they're already making all the money over here?
I think we're going to see a change. What did we see this last year, this last quarter? We saw that suddenly Android was the number one method for getting on the internet, right? It surpassed Windows. And I mean, that's the direction we're heading. We're heading to a mobile first world. There's an obvious winner in that world. I think, you said your CRM software is Windows only, it's not Android. I don't think it's a case of, well, is Android going to be able to run your CRM? I think it's a case of, is your CRM provider going to make it over to Android before they're beat by their competitors that are already there? Because I don't appreciate this. I'm not like rah Android, because obviously Android is not my first choice. But I just think, you always say the proof is in the pudding. And I think we're all eating a heaping helping of Android pudding right now, which will be the next operating system after O, probably. But I think it's there.
Next, POB. With Microsoft, you have to kind of, one of the things that kind of people haven't really paid attention to is this brand new Windows 10 S. So Windows 10 S is kind of like the Chrome OS in the Microsoft world. It's the non-download. It's pretty much all software based. You can't download any executable files or anything like that onto your device. If you do, you have to pay Microsoft like $50 or something like that, and it'll download a full version of Windows. So pretty much what this is, Microsoft is getting their asses kicked in the education sector, where all these schools are kind of rolling out these Chrome OS laptops and ditching those Windows laptops that they can't really do anything with. So Microsoft is realizing that, because Microsoft loves the education field and they've been a prime player in that sector. So they've been doing. So they announced, I think a few weeks back, a month ago or so, Windows 10 S. So that's kind of in that same realm of what you're going with, Brad. But the mobile platform is where they're going to start. They're still kind of spinning their wheels and trying to figure out what to do, because, like you said, they pretty much said don't really want to do Windows mobile devices anymore. We'd rather just get Microsoft everywhere that we can as far as software goes and such.
But this Windows S, doesn't it just kind of remind you of the Surface? What was it? NT, something like that when it first came out. We had the Surface Pro and we had the Surface, the other one. You could only download items from the Windows Store, like the Windows S.
Yeah, but that's
I know it wasn't unlockable to full Windows like the Windows S seems to be, but it just seems like we've already tried this experiment and it failed really bad.
Yeah, but isn't that what Chrome OS is?
Yeah, and Chrome OS is an Android. You know what I mean? It's like I kind of think they wish Chrome OS was Android, but it does not have the uptake. I mean, look what's giving Chrome OS now is the ability or future ability. I don't know if they've actually got it yet, but to run Android apps. That's what's saving the Chrome OS right now.
Yeah, I mean, and the nice thing, or not the nice thing, the Windows 10s operating system is going to be able to run Windows apps, which they're already in the App Store. They already have them in there, so they somewhat, I guess, have a leg up on the how to get the apps on here. I don't think they have the leg up on apps that they can put on there though. So I don't know with the app. I haven't looked in Microsoft App Store anytime in the past 2 years, but I don't know what apps are in there compared to what Android apps Chrome OS can quickly get onto these devices.
I have. Have you guys really looked in the app stores for your various devices? Because I know what we all went through with BB10 where everybody said there's no apps, right? Because they said there was no apps because there was no Instagram, Facebook. The Facebook apps basically was the apps that we were missing. Candy Crush, that crap. But, I got the Samsung Watch, right? So I go and I'm looking through its app store and the apps are few and far between. I mean, it makes BlackBerry world look full. And 70% of the apps that you run across just have horrible reviews. This doesn't work. Don't download it. Waste of money, waste of time, blah, blah, blah. And then I did go through and I looked at the Windows App Store. And it's such a friggin' mess, man. And the majority of the apps, because the reason I did it was because of Roy. It's Roy's fault. He told me that one of my favorite apps on Android was on Windows. So I went to go get it. And the app is crap on Windows. And the reviews are horrible on Windows. And you start looking through all these apps and you look at the reviews and it's just like, man, everybody was complaining about BB10. And I would love to have that app store again because we had a lot of good apps. They weren't the big name apps. They weren't the Facebook apps that to this day I still don't have on my phone. So I wasn't really missing out on those. But even like the Android app store, we go look through it. Whatever you want, it's there. And there's going to be 35 versions of it. And the vast majority of them have horrible reviews. I'm just like, I still can't believe we lost the momentum of BlackBerry 10 due to apps when all these other app stores are crap. And you look at what iPhone has done with their app store now. They're trying to rearrange their app store because it's beginning to look like apps aren't all that it's made out to be because now they're trying to, come on, be interested in our apps because that's all we have.
Yeah, they make a bunch of money off of that shit too.
Well, I mean, when it came down to BlackBerry 10 app development, you have to realize that most of those app developers, like you said, the big names weren't there. So you have these little name developers or little mom and pop small businesses, I guess, developers developing for BlackBerry 10 and that was their livelihood. That was what they were putting money on food on their table with, the money that they got from those applications. So they put more effort into those apps on BlackBerry 10 than you see on some of these apps on Android or iOS. And it used to be in the very early days of BlackBerry 10, it was quality, not quantity, because it was the same thing when iOS first launched their App Store, right? You had this Apple App Store on your iPhone, whatever it was, like third generation iPhone, but it was all these like fart apps and dumb apps that were in there that were useless to anybody. And that if you notice when the Apple App Store first launched, nobody was really jumping over to iOS. I mean, some people were just because it was something different than what was on out in the market. But a lot of people are like, oh, there's apps on BlackBerry devices that do a lot more than anything that's in the iOS app store.
Yeah.
And that was the thing with BlackBerry 10. Yeah, you didn't have your, at first you had Facebook and you had some apps, but you didn't have any Instagram apps, but you had the Instagram Insta 10. You had what was the other one? Blackgram. Yep.
iGram, yeah.
iGram and stuff like that, and Black, for instance, for a Twitter client. I mean, who hears and has anybody ever used the actual Twitter client on a BlackBerry 10 device? I never did.
Yeah,
because there was Black, and that was 10 times.
I couldn't stand Black.
You couldn't stand. I mean, I love Black. I thought the way it looked wasn't the greatest, but it performed and handled Twitter functionality a lot better than the Twitter official Twitter application did, even though that came from BlackBerry. But anyways, it was
you
more.
Have no idea how many knockdown drag out fights we had in the UTB group over Black.
Oh yeah, I wasn't there for those, but
because people either loved it or hated it.
Yeah, but anyways, the fact with BlackBerry 10 apps, they were there to make good apps because that's what brought money to them, and that's what they made money off of. And you have these big name companies that are still making that, money and making names for themselves. But after that, you don't really have anybody fighting to get your attention in the App Store anymore. And to be honest, I mean, on a Windows computer, or I have a Mac, I have a couple of Mac computers around. I don't really go into the Apple App Store on my Macs because you don't really find anything those stores that you can't find anywhere else. I mean, if you want to download Photoshop, for instance, on a Windows computer or a Mac computer, you have to go to the actual development website, Adobe website, and download it from there. It's a little bit different on the desktop or computer clients because of the fact there's other ways of finding these applications. But with BlackBerry 10, they were definitely a better app experience because that's what they did best and that's what they wanted to do best.
What I miss is that the app developers were users and they were part of our community, and they would respond to us and we could talk to them and we could have ideas for something to fix this or make this better, and they would do it, and now we're in, it used to be a little pond with big fish. Now it's all little fish in a big pond, and you've got app development houses, right? Where it's like, this is the company and we're throwing out all these apps, and you have no idea who the actual developer is. And you can leave comments, and if you're lucky, you'll get a response on a comment in the Android App Store where they say, this was answered on 5/27. Go look at that. And then, you break your thumb scrolling back to find an answer.
Yeah. For instance, I was thinking the other day, driving home, it's like, oh, I wish, on BlackBerry 10, what was the app name? It was maybe like, I think Pat Star. It allowed you to post multiple posts to like Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and stuff like that. I forget what it was called.
Oh yeah.
Quick.
I know what you mean.
Quick, yeah. So that was available on BlackBerry 10. It was one of my favorite apps on BlackBerry 10 because as in the media and blogging and stuff like that, you want to get your stories out to multiple social media networks as you can, and it just sucks having to go through each one by one and post things out. I was thinking, there's no apps like that anymore. I wish an app like that was available on Android. And I think I even asked Pat one day, what do you think about getting it over to Android? And it's, one thing with Android is it's a pain in the butt to develop because you have all these different devices, with different OSs on them, different hardware on them. You have different screen sizes. So it's kind of a mess for, Android developers to do in the first place. But at that time, he didn't really have any interest in taking that app over from BlackBerry 10 to Android. But there's just no creative apps that, there's creative apps, don't get me wrong, on Android. You can find one here and there, but there's not as many as there was on BlackBerry 10. And it's one thing I definitely do miss.
So there.
We went a long
So
way.
hey,
for
I
that
think
answer.
both of you guys got the same cases. Both you and Erica, Brett.
Yeah, I got the Incipio bundle. I don't know if Erica's came in black box just like my Key One did and my cases did, but
They good.
yeah, I thought TCL sent me another Key One. I got a little excited, but so yeah, there's all my cases. I actually have
You got the blue one.
yeah. Tell you what, I'll trade you this purple one for. Hopefully, you got a black one instead of the purple.
I
one.
have 2 purple ones, and I'm probably gonna end up having to keep
They
them
gave me a
if
purple
somebody
one. I was
else
like,
will want the purple
I
one.
would love to review this, but rocking a purple case is gonna be rough one day.
Yeah, it depends on the location.
Yeah, I gotta find the right spot to rock that case. But
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but Incipio is one of my favorite case companies. And I've been looking for companies to come out with cases for the BlackBerry Key One, BlackBerry or TCL, BlackBerry Mobile. They have some cases that I think they're available to purchase, but I haven't been able to get my hands on any of those yet. Incipio was kind enough to send me some cases. It looks like Erica as well. I'm liking them. I only used one so far. I just got them yesterday, but just put another one tonight, and definitely liking the look and feel of them. What do you think of America?
Yeah, I've been wearing the purple one today. It's pretty fantastic. I was taking some pictures and sharing it with the group earlier. They were getting annoyed with all the purpleness. But yeah, they're definitely nice cases. They're very smooth.
Are they grippy?
Yeah, they are grippy.
Yeah.
They give you a pretty good feel. I mean, so I have the Dual Pro on right now. So it's a two-layer case, and gives you pretty good protection, good feel to the case. Nice and sturdy, gives a nice feel to it. I'm not really a big case person. If you ask anybody, I'll buy a case and a week later I'll take the case off and stop using it. But the Incipio cases, they've been pretty much one of the only cases that I've ever kept on my device the longest. And the one thing with the Key One, it's a great looking device that you kind of don't want to put a case on it, just because of the feel of the device without the case, the feel of that backing without the case, and I've always, with any BlackBerry device and putting a case on it, kind of gotten in the way of the usage of the keyboard sometimes, where you would kind of get used to your hand placement on the device a certain way, and then you put a case on it, you kind of have to adjust your grip a little bit. But the Incipio cases I haven't really run into any issues. Again, it's only the second one that I've used out of the 5 or 6 that they sent out, but they're good. They're available to purchase right now on Incipio's website. Good pricing for them.
Yeah,
With that case on it, why don't you give it a bend and see if the screen pops up?
Sure.
I'm joking.
No, if you go back to my, I did an unboxing last night. I've been messing around a little around on Periscope, and I recorded a video as well for YouTube. So I did on Periscope. I just tried to put a little pressure to my Key One after I did the unboxing, and because it was just after the Jerry Riggs video populated on different sites, and you can see my bend test there if you want to go check it out. But yeah, yeah, these Incipio cases are really good. Really, really liking them so far.
Yeah, I would have liked to have been able to not use a case on the DTEC 60, but there's just no way. No way.
Yeah.
That thing is so stupid slippery. It's just ridiculous.
So the one thing that if anybody's watching the unboxing video that I did, I kind of got 2 cases confused because they're both labeled as clear on the front. So I'm like, oh, they're the same case. I guess they sent me the same thing. So I kind of just ditched it in the middle of the video. Then I realized at the end, so I had to quickly turn the camera back on. But yeah, other than that was, that's my little gripe, I guess, with the cases. And the nice thing about the Dual Pro is if you want to get really fancy, you can give me a second here. You can kind of mix and match the colors. I don't know if anybody's thought of this yet, but if you take the blue one They pop off the backing portion of it. I pop off the black one. This is great for those listening to this audio version of this podcast. They really appreciate my showing of cases to them.
Yeah. The audio version of the podcast where everyone is colorblind.
So you can do something like that where you got a little black and blue going on. I think there's actually, Erica, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Dual Pro has another color to it. I think it's a purple as well.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm wearing. It's the purple Dual Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the same. That's the same thing for the DTEC 60 as this Incipio Dual Pro, and they did make a version that was gray that had the black first piece, and then you put a gray on top of it, so you got the two-tone kind of look. But this one's all black.
I don't know what the blue one looks like, Bragg, but my purple one is actually kind of like a two-tone purple as it is.
Yeah, the blue one is pretty much just all one-toned color. Maybe not. I'm hard with colors. I'm male, so colors are all the same to me. Blue, green, yellow. Women are.
And if we're going to be technical and I can be the girl for a minute, it's actually raspberry and navy, not purple.
See, my prime example. But yeah, so they call it navy, I guess, on the packaging. But so that's what the blue one looks like.
I like the looks of those cases.
Yeah, they have good looks to them. I've been doing some photo shoots with them today, and they look really, really good on the device. Yeah, definitely very pleased with them. I'm excited to see other cases come out. I know there's some more floating around on Amazon, but I haven't really trusted anything that I've seen on Amazon yet. What I really want is some kind of screen protector for this bad boy. I want some kind of, if you go on, if anybody's a fan of Zag screen protectors, you can go onto their website and show your interest for the BlackBerry P1. They say if they get enough interest, they will produce them. So if we get enough interest, maybe they'll throw some screen protectors on the Q1s.
Well, I'm kind of thinking that's going to take care of itself, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anybody else, what is anybody else thinking for cases? What kind of manufacturers do you guys want to see for the Q1?
I'm a fan of Stilgut, German company. They do good work, good leather work.
I like a leather clip.
Dave likes the flip ones.
I do too.
I want to see Sadio. I want that holster with the clip on it.
Yeah, hopefully, I haven't gotten anybody from TCL to confirm this, but I want TCL to have the patents for the BlackBerry holsters that they used to have in the docks, and hopefully they come out with those, but they haven't seemed to be doing so. Sadio said they were coming out with some kind of case. They haven't come out with anything yet. I lost my train of thought. I was going to say something, but completely lost it. It'll come back to me.
Yeah, you hope.
Oh, now I go. So I know I got the Toomey case for the Key 1. Erica, did you get this one too? And
yeah, I did. That's one that I've had it on my phone until I got these cases.
Roy, did you get that by any chance?
What?
The Toomey case.
Yeah. I don't know if you got it. But
Roy got the retail version, so I don't think it.
But so
No.
that Toomey case, I don't know who designed that sucker, but they got their measurements wrong somewhere because it's such a pain in the butt to get the phone into the case. You feel like I thought this was going to break my phone before the bend tests.
It's a pretty stiff fit.
Yeah, I mean, if you get it the right way to line up at the bottom of the case and slide it into the case, then you can get it in there. But I feel like I shouldn't have to struggle that much with a case for my brand new phone.
Brad, let me ask you about the Incipio cases. How do you feel the responsiveness is with the buttons on the side?
So the first one that I used today was the what was it? The clear absorbent. The responsive width on the buttons, the power button was kind of throwing me off a little bit, and I kind of just was chalking it up to it being a brand new case. With these cases like that, they kind of they're a little stiff at first, and you kind of have to work the buttons to it. I was kind of noticing that I would press on the, give the power button a press, and the screen wouldn't turn on right away. It would kind of delay a little bit. So I'm like, that's not really a device issue, I hope, because I haven't seen that yet. But I think they're just a little stiff just because they're brand new cases. Like, again, I just got mine last night, so I'm still working my way through them. But as far as the Dual Pro, the power button's pretty good. I mean, as far as the response time, I haven't really tried the convenience key. Yeah, it works fine. The volume button's been pretty good as well. What about you?
It does seem like I have to press a little harder. I think the Toomey case, it was just a very sensitive cover.
Yeah,
I found that just carrying my phone in my hand, I would accidentally power it down or restart it. In the Toomey case, I'm not having that issue with the Incipio.
Yeah, it's definitely a better experience than the Toomey case. Actually, what's weird about the Toomey case, I went looking on the Toomey's website, and the Key 1 case is even there. So I don't know if that was just a case they were getting ready to sell and they backed out last minute, or they are still prepping them for sales or what. But yeah, nope. I mean, you have to push a little bit harder on Cipio cases, but again, that's a case on top of a button, so kind of expect it to happen.
I think they're coming out with a new version called a 3Me.
Push me.
Yeah, or something.
Push them in? Is that what? Oh.
Do we have anything
No,
else?
Brad.
I think I'm good.
Topics?
Anything in the comments going on?
No,
Check that.
nothing interesting.
I think we got started so late everybody went to bed.
I think so. My bad. Hey, Brad, did you want to give a little call out to your interview and direct people over to your YouTube channel if they want to see?
Yeah, so if you check out the bearporter.com YouTube channel, there's a interview with Michael Cooley, who is the head of device software over at BlackBerry. And it was a very good interview. It was one of my favorite. Michael Cooley, if you follow him on Twitter at all, he's a very funny guy. He's a very cool guy. I met him a couple times at the old BlackBerry Live, BlackBerry World events that we used to have way back in the day. And he's one of the longest standing BlackBerry employees. He's one that's still around. He's been through a bunch of. He was still working back with them when they were called RIM. I think he stated one of his first. Yeah, he stated one of 15 years. Yeah, he stated one of his devices. His first devices was the 950. So that kind of tells you how far back he went as far as devices go. It was a really good interview. He gave some good insight to the Android aspect of everything and some of the challenges and some things that they face. We did ask him about the mysterious BlackBerry blend for Android, and he wouldn't say anything. So I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. But
no, he was pretty coy on seeing N for DTEX and Priv too.
Yeah, that was one of the questions we tried to ask, and unfortunately, we didn't really get a good answer, a clear answer on that one either.
But I saw the interview live, and it was a good one. So heartily recommended, I must say.
Yeah, go check it out. And we're gonna try to get him on there a couple more times throughout the time frame. But yeah, he's a really good guy, great interviewer. He was kind enough to hop on a podcast at 9:30 at night. So you're not too many BlackBerry employees have agreed to that timestamp yet.
None of ours have. I'm joking. We're just lucky to get who we get.
Yeah, well, the only one of the reasons why I got Michael on there is because you guys are getting some good ones. So figured I couldn't be left out.
Challenge accepted. That's.
So yeah, go check it out. Go follow the bearreporter.com YouTube channel. It's up there if you see any of the recent videos for the unboxings or anything like that, you'll see somewhere in the cards.
Right on. Well, I guess that kind of wraps it up.
Yeah.
I think so. Now I get to figure out what's wrong with my computer. Why can't my computer just be a BlackBerry?
In the next episode, after the science of Brett's science section, we will know why his mic didn't work today. So stay tuned for next week.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, hopefully it's fixed by next week.
Yeah.
If not, he's switching to Linux.
Yeah. Automotive grade Linux.
All right, let's call it. Good night, folks.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.
See ya.